Welcome everyone, this is ScottyAllenDay. Today we're going to talk about 10 defunct businesses we wish would rise from the ashes. Rise from the ashes, rise from the ashes. These are businesses that all of us in the past, at one point or another in our lives, enjoyed going into these stores. We enjoyed going into these businesses. These businesses are no longer, unless it's somebody who bought a chunk of the franchise and basically called it their own. Now the first one is going to be Sam Goody Music Land. This is probably one of my personal favorite stores of all times, was Sam Goody Music Land. When you had a new album that came out, that store had it. Back in the 80s when we went to go and buy the newest Madonna, the newest Michael Jackson, the newest Iron Maiden, the newest country music CD, you would find it at Sam Goody. You'd find the cassettes, you'd find the records, you'd also find the CDs. This place had everything. If you wanted a poster of your favorite stars, which that's something that you really can't find very much now, is a poster. Buy it right off the rack and then take it home and hang it up on your wall. Now you have to try and order it online, and hopefully it's the poster that you want, including the movie posters. But Sam Goody always had all music that you were looking for. They had posters, they even had headshots, kind of like the stuff that's back here. They had headshots up on the wall. If you wanted to purchase it, you could possibly get the headshots. It was an absolutely wonderful store. I wish it would have never gone away. But, unfortunately, time took its toll. The digital age came in. People started preferring just to download stuff instead of having a physical copy, which they could be able to use for the rest of their life. And boom, it was gone. The next one is Toys R Us. This was probably one of my favorite stores when I was growing up. Anytime that you went into the store, it was just like it was kind of like a toned down version of FAO Schwartz. You walked into the store and all you saw was toys. If you had a new baby on the way, you could even go into the store, you could buy your crib, you could buy everything you needed for your baby, and then still get something for the older Rugrat as well. When video games came out, Atari, Nintendo, all the offline games, you could find just about every single game inside of Toys R Us. But then once the digital age came, the biggest chunk of their sales was video games. But the digital age came in, people started preferring to download, and everything started going online, and the biggest chunk of their business went down the tubes. But I still don't understand how they could have ended up going into bankruptcy, because it's toys. Unless every single parent in America, in the States, have their kid wired to a screen. I mean, they had Legos there, they had Tinker Toys there, they had dolls there, they had girls stuff there, they had action figures there. I took my kids there. I mean, when my kids did great, I said, okay, you guys got to pick a toy of your choice. And they'd go and they'd pick out a toy of their choice. I mean, it was wonderful. But Toys R Us went defunct. The next one is KB Toy Hobby. KB Toy Hobby was probably my most favorite store of all time. I don't care. Well, yeah, I would say it's my most favorite toy store. Inside of the mall, you had a small store. It was called KB Toy Hobby. Inside of that store, from the floor to the ceiling, it would have the most popular toys that are out on the market. If it was I gotta learn to keep my head focused. They had from the floor to the ceiling the most popular toys out on the market. If it wasn't a toy that was a good seller, you wouldn't find it at KB Toy Hobby. The newest video games were always on the shelf. The newest action figures, even the newest trading cards. I mean, I do trading cards all the time. I was looking on a test to see if I had a pack. Normally I do it because I do cracking packs. And a lot of times these junk wax cards, you would find these at KB Toy Hobby. But now you can't find the junk wax cards anymore. But unless you go to a couple of stores, maybe you might be able to find them. But KB Toy Hobby, I wish it would have never went up and belly up. That was one of the best stores I've been to, and I've really enjoyed. Now this top 10 list is just basically off of my opinion, it's off of anybody else's opinion. These are stores that I truly miss that have shut down and are gone. The next one is Woolworths. Woolworths was a department store. It was a multi-level department store, kind of like Sears. And on the bottom floor you would always have your daily cosmetics, hygiene, sanitary, toilet paper, just the stuff that kind of like walking into a Rite Aid or a Walgreens or a CVS, kind of like a drugstore. That was the first level, but there's a little cherry that was inside of every Woolworths, and I'll tell you that close to the end of talking about Woolworths. Up on the next level, there's always clothing. You can find just about any kind of clothing and a very limited selection of shoes. And then up on the next level, you would have sporting goods, outdoor, a little bit of furniture, and I think that's about it. That's from what I remember. And then up on the top floor was home electronics, and of course, a little bit more furniture. So up on the top floor, you had all of your home electronics. And the two of the Woolworths that I've been into, you didn't have an escalator going up to the electronics. You had an elevator. So once you made your purchase, you take your slip and you go down the elevator, and then you turn it into the front desk, and then they bring it to you out of the warehouse. Nothing up on the top floor left the top floor. It was all display only. Great way to be able to do business. Plus, you didn't have to haul that nice big TV VCR combination down to the bottom floor. That was why I bought my first TV VCR combination. I loved it. I used it for years. I don't know what happened to it, but that was my absolute favorite. And then the cherry on top of Woolworths was in the back of the store on the first level. You would basically have what we would call a soda shop, malt shop. You go back, you can have a nice big old milkshake. You can have a fresh blended soda. Or you can basically have breakfast, lunch, or a very light dinner. A lot of times, that particular diner in the back always closed about 7 o'clock. That's Woolworths. Payless shoe stores. That was my go-to for my shoes for just about 90% of my life so far. You can find out any kinds of shoes there. Champion sneakers were my all-time favorite until, well, Payless closed down and I couldn't find them. I could find my boots there. I wear a size 17 shoe. Payless shoe stores always had my size shoe. But unfortunately, Payless shoe stores shut down, and I have to go online and shop off of Home Depot or Amazon. The next one is Blockbuster Video. We went there thousands of times when I was growing up. Going to Blockbuster, we find the hottest hits. A lot of times they would have just enough copies to make it work. If you had the hottest Blockbuster that was out there on the market, I remember Dirty Dancing and Dances with Wolves were the hottest videos out on the market, and I kid you not, Blockbuster would always just have at least one copy left. It just worked. And then, of course, once video games came out, you rented video games from Blockbuster as well. And we had a good time. But now there's only one Blockbuster left in Bend. And it'll probably never go because it's just so nostalgic that people actually want to go and see what Blockbuster was all about. The next one is Radio Shack. I loved Radio Shack. And a lot of us techie geeks loved Radio Shack as well. But the best thing about Radio Shack is they always had these electronics assembly kits. If you needed a resistor, if you needed a capacitor, if you needed a transistor, you could be able to find all the parts that you needed to be able to fix stuff, or fix a radio, or fix a computer and actually rebuild a circuit board. And then they had all the new high-tech toys and the new radios and the best. I don't know. I can't figure out why Radio Shack went belly up. Radio Shack should have survived. They're kind of blaming it on something, but I can't see how they went belly up. It was such a great store to go to. I think probably the biggest problem is that they went to too much reliance on selling phones. But that's Radio Shack. The next one is Sharper Image, always at the mall, and there was always the rich. We always called it the rich kid stuff. And you would walk into Sharper Image and you would find the wildest and the strangest and the craziest gadgets that you could ever even buy. And I've been in there with my friends, and we'd be in there for an hour just looking at the crazy stuff that you could be able to buy, but I would never be able to afford. I remember the first time that I saw that little cage that had the five steel balls, the one that you can lift the ball up and it goes clack, 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 clack. And that was the first time that I saw that there at Sharper Image. And then all of a sudden all the other stores started selling. So we kind of thought that was a prototype store for some reason. But it was one of my favorite stores to go into the mall after I finished up with Sam Goody. Next one is Circuit City. Now this was poor management. This was bad management that shut this store down. If they had good leadership inside of this franchise, it would still be around today. This was the place where I could take my car into and I could put the best quality speakers into a piece of junk car. You could buy the best quality radio and put it into a piece of junk car. And I know people that had junkers and they had kicking sound systems. And you could always find, again, that every day, let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at the ceiling now because I'm trying to walk back through memory lane. Just about every one of my e-machines that I bought for my computers, I bought at Circuit City. And I continued to buy from Circuit City as e-machines kept going obsolete every year, and we kept going up and 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 up. And, well, eventually, once I moved back out here, all of a sudden, boom, it was closed. Bad management, they didn't want to pay their employees, that sort of thing. Circuit City was a wonderful store. My other favorite store while I was growing up was Walden Books. I would go into the mall inside and find a Walden Books, and I would sit there and I would read comic books for hours. They had Dungeons and Dragons books, and I would sit there and I would read Dungeons and Dragons books and comic books and magazines for hours as a kid. It was a great place. My mom would go shopping and I said, hey, can I stop in Walden Books and read some comic books while you're shopping? She said, sure. And then when she's done and she comes over and I'm in the middle of one of my comic books, and then she'd buy me a book. And then I'd also find another book, like a novel, and she'd buy me a book. That's the go-to place to go and buy a book until Borders and Barnes and Noble opened up. But this was the place where people could go, and they never harassed you. You could sit on the floor or stand up and read books for hours, like you can now for a bookstore, kind of like a library. And then last but not least, my absolute favorite at the mall that I went to, that I always enjoyed, was Aladdin's Arcade. Always located in a food court, and anytime you go into any kind of a mall across the states, if you found a food court, you would find Aladdin's Arcade. And the best thing about Aladdin's Arcade is when you went into Aladdin's Arcade, it was games. It was video games. It wasn't casino games, is what I call it. That's the type of games that you do in the skee ball and playing basketball to get the amount of tickets so you'll be able to get prizes. I call them casino games. it's not an arcade. An arcade is where you're going to go play Pac-Man and Dig Dug and Frogger and Double Dragon, and I mean, but it's no more. You go to an arcade now, it's a mini casino, and it's going to take you hours to be able to get a small little tiny toy. But there's my 10 list of defunct businesses we wish would rise from the ashes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. What businesses do you remember as a kid that shut down that you wish would rise from the ashes? Drop that in the comment section below. Let me know, and I may include that in another video in a future date. Please share your video with your friends, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video. Until next time, like usual, keep on rocking.